No, get petty. I'm not here for this.
Okay, I'll try and be petty just for you.
Everything hurts and I'm dying. This is Everything Hurts and I'm Dying, the podcast to remind you that health and fitness is for everyone. It doesn't have to be miserable. You're allowed to enjoy yourself. Join me, your host, Julia Krause, as we navigate together through the world of toxic fitness, six-pack abs, Instagram booties, and no days off to find real human experiences. Our world is different. It is inclusive and accessible. It is fun and challenging. It is friendly and supportive. It is open, real, honest, vulnerable, and brave. Everyone's journey of health and fitness is different, as it should be, and I'm here to help you along on yours. Welcome. You belong here. Everything hurts and I'm dying. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Everything Hurts and I'm Dying, Season 2! Yay! Oh my god, we made a whole first season, and now we're on the second season. This is very exciting.
I didn't know it was Season 2.
I've just decided that it's Season 2 this morning. Tony doesn't know it's Season 2 either.
Thanks.
I'm here with our lovely editor, whom you remember from Season 1, Tony. Tony, say hi.
Hello, still haven't seen me, but...
You just pop your head in front of the camera.
No, not today.
And today we are joined with the absolutely fabulous, amazing, incredible Miss Faye Jordan. Hi,
Hello.
Faye. Why don't you introduce yourself for our team?
So I'm Faye, and I do a lot of powerlifting, mostly.
Just a little.
Yeah, and I suppose it's always hard to do this introduction thing because as a sports person, I don't like to define myself by my sport. So if I say, hi, I'm Faye and I'm a powerlifter, then to me that seems a little bit fake because I'm so many other things as well as that. I'm a mum, I'm a university student currently, I used to run my own business, I have a great family and things like that, so I'm all of those things as well as a powerlifter, which is primarily why we're here.
I mean, we can be here and just chat about whatever you want to chat about, to be fair.
We can talk about powerlifting, we can talk about all sorts, I don't mind.
I feel like the audience would be relatively... We're kind of like a health and fitness podcast, but if you just want to talk shit, we can talk shit.
Yeah. It's fine.
So I'm very happy Faye's here. We are going to be talking today about some hard lessons learned, a little bit about her experiences, because she's had how many years now in the industry?
Wow, in the industry, 20 odd.
20 odd years.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I qualified as a gym instructor when I was 18.
Oh my god.
And I'm now 40. So, 22 years. There's been some gaps here and there. Some intentional, some not. But it's been a while and definitely a journey.
I feel like you're one of the more experienced people that we've had on so far, so I'm really excited to learn from your knowledge, and hopefully everybody else is as well. Everything hurts and I'm dying. Welcome back. Faye, how's your week going? What are we focusing on in our training?
Well, this week is one of my favourite weeks. I'm off programme.
Wait!
Yeah, I know, right?
Me too!
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
it's fun.
Nice. I love it. High five. Awesome.
So last week, I was meant to compete at the Bucks Championships for my university, because I'm on a sports scholarship and I have to compete at Bucks for that. Unfortunately...
Wait, what are Bucks?
British University and College... something...
Sports scholarship?
Yeah.
Super duper?
Anyway, Bucks, which is the British College and Universities Championships for British Powerlifting. And I meant to compete in it. Unfortunately, there was an administration error from my uni, and I didn't get in, which was a bit of a shame. So I decided to max out anyway.
Oh, strong.
So my coach and I had a chat, and he was like, well, do you want to max out? We've done this, you may as well peak, let's continue. So we did. So I just did it in the gym, which was fun, and it was nice to see where I was at, because I don't compete raw very often.
Nice.
And so, did that, and hit some PBs, which was awesome. I mean, it would be even better if they'd actually counted and been on the platform. And so this week, he just said, have a do what you want, just get your feel back into it, and then we're going to be moving forwards next week to prep for the European Equipped, or European Masters Equipped, which is at the beginning of July. So nice. I've just been dusting around. I've been training my kids. It's been great. So they're on Easter holidays, so we've been training together. And me and two of my kids had a bench press session yesterday. And, Tuesday. Sorry, it was great. And it's just been really nice to spend some time with them and not be having to do anything too regimented. So
nice. How old are your kids?
My oldest is 17. He's been away with some friends for the last couple of days. But the two that I train with are my middle one, who is he's 15 in a couple of weeks, and my little girl who is 11.
Hell yeah. Hi, girl.
Yeah.
I see you, baby.
She loves you.
I love her. Oh my god. We're just going to be best friends. I'm so here for, like, girls in the gym, right? And starting them early. One of the other trainers at our gym, his daughter, who's about 8 or 9, came into the gym, and I just made sure that she felt like it was the place for her. Like, I have such a soft spot for little girls in the gym. I'm like, come, it's a safe space. You belong here. Like, if you tell me about any girls in the gym, I
Well, that's something I've done so much work with in the past. Like, I used to coach, I have junior powerlifting clubs, and we started these kids from 6. And we had got them lifting broom handles and stuff, and that's how all of my lot started out. They've grown up in gyms because I ran gyms for their entire childhood, and I mean, still in their childhood, I'm not running gyms anymore, but they've just grown up in that environment, and they just know that that's what they can do, and it's cool. And I'm like, now I have a gym at home, and I'm like, I'm gonna go out and train, and they're like, oh, can I come with you, mum? And the answer is never no.
Oh.
Like, occasionally if it was on a rush, I might say, look, I'm rushing today, maybe we'll train again tomorrow, but generally the answer is yes, because I love training with them.
What's some advice that you have for some parents who have kids, I don't know, between the ages of like 8 and 16, who like want to get their kids involved, or if their kids want to get involved? What's some advice you have for parents?
So there's a huge myth that strength training is bad for kids and it stunts their growth. This is really interesting where this myth comes from, actually.
Yeah, I want to talk about this.
I researched it.
Okay.
Because I wanted to see if there was any truth in it, and if there's any things that I should be thinking about whilst I'm training children. And the myth actually comes from years ago when kids worked on farms, and it was the working class kids that worked on farms that tended to be smaller. Okay. And they said it was the heavy lifting that stunted their growth.
Interesting.
What they failed to consider was that these kids were malnourished as well.
Yeah.
And that's actually where the stunting of the growth has now been shown to come from.
Interesting.
And it's one of these myths that just went through like decades and decades of and came into even modern day. People still believe this.
I'm not gonna lie, it crossed my mind as well when I saw that, like, young kids lifting.
Yeah, and
like, is that good for them?
And it's just absolute rubbish. I mean, if you really get into the science of it, you look at how the bones grow. You've got the epiphyseal plates that make bones. That's where the bones like grow from, and and damaging those, yes, can stunt growth. But a kid could do that playing football. They could do that doing anything.
Yeah.
A bone break in that area of the bone is very hard as a kid to do because the bone is so spongy there that to break it is quite difficult. Yeah, exactly. And so it's very difficult to damage it. But if you did damage it, then yes, it could stunt growth. However, like, it's not likely to happen lifting weights. It's more likely to happen playing a sport like rugby or football or something like that.
I never thought about that because, like, I didn't grow up weightlifting or anything of the sort. I do now as a 30-year-old woman. But as a child, Jesus, you couldn't get me off the sports field. I was always playing soccer, thank you very much, or baseball or karate or, like, whatever. You were always running around playing basketball and all sorts of stuff. So why would that be any different, I guess, from weightlifting or powerlifting?
Exactly. And if you think when you run, I think it's said that 5 times your body weight goes through your legs when you run, that impact. I've never seen a kid squat 5 times their body weight.
I wish I could squat 5 times my body weight. I would be setting some world records, baby.
And the running is on uneven ground. It's in multi-directional. Whereas actually you're just standing still lifting a weight. How bad can that be? And as long as it's done right, anything can be bad if it's done wrong.
Yeah.
But if it's done right, it's great. And my kids are strong for it. They're confident for it. And the kids that I've trained in the past, they have this, this level. There's one of the lads I still train him actually, and he started with me. I can't remember. He must have been 8 or 9, and he's a rugby player. And he's, but he wasn't the most sporty of kids. Other than that, he played rugby, but he was never the most, athletic of kids or anything like that. And he came into the gym, and trying to get his movement patterns right was quite difficult to start off with. But he's now training. He's 16 years old, and he's still training, and he's still loving it. He has the confidence to walk into a gym and to be able to know what he's doing.
Yeah. And
I can write him a program, and if there's something a little bit different, I might have to show him what to do. But he has the confidence to walk in there. We were in a gym the other day. Great gym. I love training there. And I took him in there just to show him the place, really, because they've just moved house. Yeah. And I want to show him the new venue. And he he was training with me for a little bit, and then he just went upstairs into the bodybuilding area. He was like, I'm going to go play with the toys. And it's great to have to know that confidence has been built.
As a 16-year-old boy as well.
Exactly. And and then my son was with me as well, my 15-year-old, and he went upstairs and he was like, I'm going to go upstairs and play.
I love it.
And just, I didn't have my daughter with me then because I wasn't sure if they allowed the younger ones in. I think they do, but just have that confidence to just go, cool, I know what I'm doing.
It's definitely something to like drive home to the parents and stuff when your kids, like, just thinking about my own journey and how much confidence I had after lifting and stuff. It just, being under the barbell just breeds confidence, and that doesn't matter if you're 40, it doesn't matter if you're 30, or it doesn't matter if you're 20 or 10. I feel like that confidence will still come no matter what. So if your kids are looking to get a bit more involved into lifting, we say go for it.
Yeah, do it. Like, if they want to do it, just make sure the person that's coaching them knows what they're doing.
Yeah, that's true. Find a good coach.
Yeah, find a good coach. Find somebody that understands training kids, and then let them do it, because it's going to help them with their confidence. It's going to help them with their other sports that they may play. Or if they don't play other sports, it's something that they can do. Yeah. My oldest son isn't a sporty, and he wrote me a blog years ago. He must have been about 13 or something at the time, maybe younger. And it was about why I like going to the gym, but I don't like PE at school. Oh. And it pretty much was like, he said, because it doesn't matter in the gym. Everyone's supporting each other. He liked the atmosphere. I mean, he'd only ever been in one of my gyms, which is not a commercial style gym. It was a very niche kind of strength and conditioning place. Yeah. But he enjoyed being there because he felt comfortable in doing what he was doing. He enjoyed the exercise, but he didn't like doing the team sports and stuff at school. He didn't like the ridicule you got. He didn't like the the pressure that you were under at school to perform. Whereas in the gym, it didn't matter.
It's just you, yourself, and you.
Yes, and you're going for a PB, the entire gym gets behind you. You've got national level people there. You've got people that are lifting like hundreds of kilos, and then you've got a kid lifting 50 kilos, and he's like, everyone is celebrating that. Yeah, everyone is celebrating it. Yeah, and that is something that is great to get kids into, because they're with adults. Yeah, and they're being celebrated on an equal playing field, and that is amazing.
And they're not doing drugs.
Yes, and you're keeping them off the streets. Yeah, which is great.
Oh gosh, I love that. We will take a break in a second, but I do love that a lot of people don't necessarily understand this in the world of weightlifting and powerlifting and just lifting. People's personal bests are exactly that. It's their personal bests. And they are celebrated whether they're 500 kilos or 5 kilos. They are celebrated the same. I celebrate your bench press just as much as you celebrate mine, just as much as we celebrate yours, Tony. Like, everybody's personal bests are the best that they can personally do. And you don't have to compare, like, it's all good. And I just wish like more people who are outside of the lifty community understood that, because that would get them involved into the lifty community, is that you don't necessarily have to deadlift, 500 kilograms to belong. Like, you just come in and then you do the best you can with what you got, and that will be celebrated across the board by everyone.
Yeah. Everything hurts and I'm dying.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here with the amazing powerlifter extraordinaire, equipped champion, and strength training mastermind, Faye Jordan. Faye, one thing that we have on this podcast is the concept of find your why. So it's basically why you are on this path of health and fitness. We've realized that in our journeys of health and fitness that working out is always more than just working out, right? There has to be some sort of underlying motivation there. So sometimes people choose to work out so they can keep up with their grandkids. I personally love to go on hikes with my family and just I'm strong enough to do things that I need to do, like pick up my couch or whatever. And honestly, that's kind of my why, is because I always want my body to do the things that I want it to do. So Faye, my darling, what is your why?
Okay, this is quite a difficult one because it's definitely changed throughout the years.
Yeah, okay.
And if we go back to where my love for sport and everything came from, was in my childhood. And I've always been sporty, and I've always enjoyed that from a really young age. As soon as I could walk, I was picking up a skipping rope or wanting to do gymnastics or something like that. So it's something that was definitely within me anyway. But as I got older, sport was my solitude. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go into my childhood particularly, but it wasn't the always ideal. Mm-hmm. And sport was always a safe place.
Nice.
And one thing my dad always did as well is he always he told me when I got older that one of the reasons he took me to so many sports clubs was to try and keep me on the straight and narrow.
Nice.
So
go back to keeping your kids off the streets.
Yeah, keeping your kids off the streets. My dad literally did that. He would do everything. We used to go and play badminton and squash and go running and things like that together at the weekends. But also I did gymnastics and I played rugby and I did ballet for a little bit when I was very young.
And, very strong. I'd love to see you doing ballet.
I quit when I was about 7 and then did gymnastics and then I left gymnastics to go and play rugby. There was a definite...
we had a transition.
We did transition and things like rugby especially. I mean, I played for every sports team there was at school. I did everything.
Yeah, same.
And enjoyed it and loved it, but also it was something that it meant I didn't have to go home for another couple of hours, which was also sometimes nice.
Yeah.
But rugby especially turned into the big thing, and that was I started playing when I was about 13, and I played throughout my entire teenage years, and it was my life, and I wanted to play for England, and it was just that was my dream, and whether that ever would have come to anything, I don't know, because I never quite got there.
Yeah.
And that was just taken away from me just after my 20th birthday. I got diagnosed with cancer, and it was like, oh. Wow. In that time, those couple of years of in and out of hospital constantly, I never thought about rugby really because I was too busy trying to stay alive, as you do.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, and then afterwards, that's when it really hit me. I lost the eyesight in one of my eyes. I lost the hearing in one of my ears, and my lungs are now 50% scar tissue. And I was like, I'm never going to play rugby. I was at the time they told me I couldn't have children either, which is why my little miracles are so special to me. And but all of this, it was like my life went on hold.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I come back and I'm like, oh, I survived. Now what?
Yeah.
But I survived, but I was a different person. I couldn't do the things. I had to learn to walk again. I couldn't go up a flight of stairs. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even do the washing up without having to sit down for a break. And it was just crazy. And my why then, my why when I was a kid was to keep my mind safe and keep my body safe and keep myself safe.
Yeah. And
to give me something to be good at and feel positive about. Then I moved into, I wanted to do exercise to get fit. I tried going for a run. That didn't work. This is when I thought, right, I'm getting fitter. I can do the stairs
the
now.
The troubleshooting phase.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for a run. No. Couldn't breathe. And that was when I think I realised that I was probably never going to play rugby again, and that was really hard because that I was like, well, what do I do?
Yeah.
And then I fell pregnant with Ash, my oldest, and which was like, wow, okay, that wasn't going to happen either. And I started doing this. It was a video, VCR video.
Okay. VCR video.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Like an actual tape.
I was there.
Yeah,
I was there.
Back in the day. And I started doing this antenatal exercise thing that I think my sister had given me. And I did it religiously throughout my entire pregnancy, every morning at home. And actually what it did is it gave me, a routine, but also I was like, oh, I can do this. And it was like something I could do. And then and Ash was born, and things happened at home, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to train to be a fitness instructor again. I'm going to redo my qualification because I wanted to read. It'd been a while, and I wanted to redo it to have it fresh in my head. So I redid it and got a job in a gym, and they employed me specifically to train to do exercise referral, so to train people with medical conditions. Nice. And that. Because they were like, well, okay, you're not just a young fitness instructor, you're young, but you understand these people and you work with them, and it was amazing. It was amazing to work with people.
Yes.
And to work with people and actually make a difference to their lives. And I was going through my own recovery whilst taking them through theirs, and it was so cool and so empowering. And in that time, I was like, well, I'm helping these people, but I don't really know where I'm going myself. I still didn't think I could ever play sport again, but I got into lifting weights because you don't have to breathe too much to do this. It's great. And that was the main issue. Is that, yes, there was a proprioception thing, like not being able to see and hear properly, but it was the breathing thing that was the most difficult. Yeah. And it was to start off with, back in the day then as well, I was constantly getting like chest infections, and like it was always worrying that my immune system would just crash again, and so I had to be a little bit careful of things. And
well, good thing, because powerlifters don't do cardio, so you're fine.
So powerlifters don't do cardio, so I ended up getting into it, and I didn't even get into powerlifting then. I ended up opening my first gym, and it was this woman that walked in, and I was just training. I was just enjoying lifting weights for the sake of lifting weights, because that's all I could do. And I'd gone through this journey of taking other people along the ride with me that were also trying to improve their health. Yeah. And so then the why then was to help myself, but help other people. I wanted to get back to some sort of fitness. I wanted to feel normal again. Yeah. And then I was in the gym, and I'd opened the gym with my daughter's dad, and this woman walks in one day. And she's like, "Hi, I'm Britain's strongest woman." I was like, "Sure, yeah." You know.
I love that you didn't believe them. Classic you. Like, yeah, fuck off.
Totally. Then I got her to fill out a PAR-Q. Googled her name. She's actually Britain's strongest woman, right?
Strong. Yeah.
A lady called Siobhan Highland at the time. This was Britain's strongest woman in 2011.
Fun fact: we've learned on this podcast that very strong women are named Siobhan.
yeah, exactly. And she's training, and I'm like fangirling her a little bit, as you do. And I said, "Oh, so when's the next comp?" She goes, "Oh, it's Britain's strongest woman." And she goes, "If it goes ahead." I was like, "What do you mean if it goes ahead?" She goes, "Oh, numbers are low. Like, so I don't know about like if it's going to go ahead." I said, "Where do I sign up?" Yeah. Like, I'll make up numbers. I'm not going to be any good at it, but I'll make up numbers. I'll come along and do it. And that's what got me into strength sports, is like literally just making up numbers, because I wanted this woman to be able to defend her title. And
I'll compete against you. Fine.
No, luckily, she was in the open weight class. I was in the under 75s, I think it was at the time.
Oh, here we go.
So I wasn't competing against her, but I was like, oh, okay. Right, turn up. At the time, there was a deadlift for reps, 100 kilos deadlift for as many reps as you can in 75 seconds, whatever. Okay. My current PB was 100 kilos that I'd done once. Oof. Yeah. Did 10 reps on the day.
Yay!
And it was like, wow, this is cool.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, oh, I like competing.
That's amazing.
And it was amazing. And I did quite well at the comp and ended up competing in strongman and stuff. And then through somebody I met in strongman, I saw on Facebook one day that she had put she put a status up saying she does a powerlifting comp. I was like, I want to do that. Literally just signed up for one. I had no idea what I was doing. Yeah. Whatsoever. And then it was just like, I was just kind of then I think the why was I was fueling that natural like competitiveness that I'd had since I was born.
That athlete, that competitiveness.
It was just, I was like, I can do this,
you know. Part of your soul, baby.
Exactly. I was feeling like never the same as what I felt on a rugby pitch, but I was feeling it. Oh. And I was like, I'm alive again. I love this. And it was and that was it. And then, then you kind of move on from that. And I competed in powerlifting. I did quite well. And then it came to that. It is no like secret that I've suffered with like mental health problems throughout most of my life, but especially in my 30s, I think. And I think it was just, there were so many things. But anyway, then like lifting became that. It became, actually, this keeps me sane. Yeah. This is what I have to do to keep things going right. It was a routine that was important to me, and it was being able to feel strong. But now that I don't really mind so much about feeling strong, I like feeling strong. Who doesn't? Yeah, exactly. But that's not it. The why now is really tough, because yes, probably for mental health reasons, but I think I'm a little bit past that as well. The why now is really tough, because I don't actually know what it is. And I think at the time of all of those times beforehand, in the time I wouldn't have known that that's what the why was. Yeah. And it's only in hindsight that I then know what the why is. Yeah. Because you look back on it and go, oh yeah, that was why I was doing that. And I think now I just, I have goals, within powerlifting and things. But now I'm just enjoying being in it.
For the love of the game, baby.
Yeah, like I enjoy the people. I enjoy training with my kids. I've gone back to playing rugby, which is amazing. I never thought I'd play again. And I went back and I couldn't do... Well, this is just my competitiveness. I couldn't do the warm-up. Mm-hmm. I got a few minutes into the warm-up and I couldn't breathe. And I went back the next week. This was before lockdown. Yeah. I went back, and the next week I did a bit more of the warm-up, and I'm like, I'm going to do this. I just wanted to step foot on a pitch again, even if it was for the last couple of minutes.
Oh.
And this all came from a couple of, I think of a year or so before that, my son was playing, and they had a lads and dads game at the end of season, and I was like, I want to go.
Yeah, of course.
I lasted all of about 10 minutes, maybe.
Hey, that's...
And before I was struggling for breath on the sideline in a big way. And my dad said to me at the time, he said, you got that ball in your hand and you look like you were home. Or something along those lines. He's like, you just look like... And I was like, yeah, that's what it felt like. And I realised how much I missed it.
Yeah.
And it was then, it kind of was niggling. It was there in the back of my head. It's like, I need to do this again. I used to dream about it. I used to, the fact that I never fulfilled my dreams with rugby was, I think, some of the things that I struggled with so bad. And it sounds like a silly thing to struggle with. There are so many other things in life that have been worse. But that was something that was so difficult to be like, I never knew if I could have played for England. I never knew if I could have done these things.
Yeah.
And
it was such a big part of your life, and it got taken away from you quite abruptly.
Yeah.
I think no matter what that is, no matter how big or small, if there's something that means that much to you that gets then taken away from you because of forces outside of your control, of course that's going to hit you hard. Of course.
And it was so weird. And then when I actually managed to play 80 minutes again, that was by accident. We didn't have any subs, so
strong, very strong.
It was either play 80 minutes or let your team down and make them play with 14. And I don't let people down like that.
Say, but you're that type.
Yeah. I'll just sit back, girls.
Yeah.
You carry on.
Yeah. That's the kind of person that you are, Faye.
So I ended up playing 80 minutes, and yes, it's tough, and I still struggle with it. And I don't play rugby very often now because I don't want to get injured for powerlifting. So I'm currently playing a little bit because I'm out of season with powerlifting right now. So I'm just training with my local club, who are the club that I played for when I was a kid. And the club that my kids play for, I'm coaching my daughter, helping coach my daughter's team.
She's got a gun on her as well. We were playing around with the rugby ball in your house, and I was like, we're going to break something.
Yeah.
We are going to break something immediately. Yeah. I need to put the ball down.
Yeah, that happens. And you should see when me and my son get in the... We were throwing a ball across my kitchen, and Izzy was sat there, and she's like, this is just scary.
This is just escalating.
But, and rugby is like... I just feel it, and now I can't, even though I know I sensibly don't play because I don't want to injure myself, and I'm not getting any younger, and I'm looking at playing a game in a couple of weeks. That'll be the only game I'm playing this season, and I came back from training on Tuesday this week. We've been rolling around in the mud a lot. I was soaking wet and so happy. And that's why I do it, because
happier than a pig in shit, baby.
Literally, just how happy it makes me.
Oh, I love
that I think is now the why. If there is a why that I know of now, that's because it makes me happy.
Oh, the best why of all.
Exactly.
The whyest of the whys.
Yeah. Why would you do anything if it doesn't make you happy, right?
I love it.
And that's it.
Everything hurts and I'm dying. Alrighty, we're gonna take a brief segue and talk about our gym beef, aka beefcake. And Faye has just told me. What did you tell me in the break?
I try not to do beef.
Boo.
I'm a bit too laid back for that.
No, get petty. I'm not here for this.
Okay, I'll try and be petty just for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Let's get some sass up in here. Okay, do you want to know my gym beef?
Go on.
Okay, so my gym beef is... I don't know if I'm going to be able to look at you while I say this. My gym beef is when... instructors automatically have their female clients do mixed grip deadlifts. Straight away. Thank you. See, that's what I'm looking for. It's her reaction. Straight away. So it could just be just the barbell. And the instructors are always like, oh, mixed grip, like immediately. And I was like, no. Teach them overhand grip. Like, let them at least try. Like, mixed grip is never just the automatic answer. Mixed grip is out of pure desperation if you can't have enough grip strength to hold onto the bar. Like, what you need to do as a trainer, I'm just going to jump in and keep going on this. Clearly, I
have an opinion. I'll share it in a moment.
So, as a strength coach, you want to teach everyone overhand grip because, A, that's the proper way to do it, and B, if you teach them mixed grip immediately, that's going to have them develop muscle imbalances, and they're just going to learn right off the bat to, like, do it in a slightly, like, skewed way. Sorry, skewed way, not skewed. Slightly skewed way. So especially if it's light, especially if they're just learning, have them do overhand. And then, if their grip strength isn't strong enough, they can do mixed grip, but also that means that they should work on their grip strength.
I actually agree completely.
Yay, good.
And as a strength coach, I wouldn't teach anyone to do mixed grip straight away.
Thank you.
Whether male or female or anyone, because if they're a novice, then that isn't what we're looking at. We're not looking at doing max lifting. If I'm coaching a powerlifter, for example, and they then don't mix their grip and they end up dropping the bar because they haven't, then that's a limiting factor to them getting the best out of their lift.
Mm-hmm.
So we would then mix the grip. I personally train mixed grip, but when I first started lifting, I used to swap my grip all the time. I used to either do double overhand or I would swap either way that I do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell people, well, swap your hands over occasionally.
Yeah.
I don't anymore because I broke my wrist a few years ago and I can't underhand grip my right hand.
Okay.
It doesn't go like that.
Which is legit.
So I have to do it the other way around. But I don't think that anyone should ever teach that as an immediate thing for a novice.
Thank you.
I don't understand the rationale behind that.
Thank you. Me neither. And just if you guys don't know, mixed grip is obviously where you have one hand facing one way and the other hand facing the other way. So that's like the bad grip to learn immediately. What you want to learn is overhand grip, which is where both of your hands are facing yourself, I guess, palms facing towards you, and then you pull it up that way. So that'll be easier to know on the video than it will be on the audio, but I tried to explain it to y'all.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, it's about getting the best out of people. And to start off with, you're trying to teach a movement pattern that the limiting factor is not going to be the grip.
Yes.
Because if somebody could lift their max what they can grip when they first start, then they're probably not a novice.
Yeah.
They've done something else beforehand, and then it depends what they're trying to go to. If they're just trying to get strong, then you might for big lifts do that, but to start off with, no. Why? It's just not necessary. If you're trying to power lift and you're trying to get the maximum out of your deadlift, a mixed grip is stronger.
Yeah,
or a hook grip. A mixed grip or a hook grip are stronger. But you're not going to also teach a novice to do a hook grip.
Well,
Why would you do that?
Exactly.
Because you're going to take away from what they're trying to do. They're trying to learn the movement pattern.
Exactly.
And do the exercise correctly. And then you can start adding in the extra bits once they can do that.
So if you're listening at home, if you're having a deadlift session, if you're kind of new to the gym and you're having a deadlift session and your personal trainer tells you right away to do mixed grip, I hate to pull the gender thing, but I do see a lot of trainers tell their female clients this, just because statistically our hands are a little bit smaller than men's hands. Fine. But if they tell you to go to mixed grip right away, I would very much encourage you to ask them why, and to try to train overhand grip as much as possible so you don't develop any muscle imbalances and you learn how to do the movement pattern properly. There you go.
And I think from carrying on for that as well, if you have a question about your training and you ask your coach why and they can't answer it, you maybe want to reevaluate who's coaching you.
Yeah, fair.
And that's not me having beef as such. That's just
beef.
Get petty,
y'all.
But that's just surely if your coach can't answer why have they done it? Why have they asked you to do it if they don't know why?
Yeah. They need to practice what they preach.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, Faye, you need to get petty because there's a reason why reality TV is so popular, Desperate Housewives or whatever. That could be us.
It could be. Okay. I will work on my pettiness.
Good. Release your inner bitch. It's fine.
I think this is something that I've learned over time, though. I think years ago, if we were having this conversation 10 years ago, I would have been right in there. I would have been like, you know what? This has got me today. That's got me today. And now I'm a bit like, actually, I don't look at. I don't follow. People say to me, "Oh, do you see this person on Instagram? Do you see that person?" I'm like, no. I don't watch it. I doom scroll.
Oh yeah.
I love a doom scroll,
of
completely random funny stuff. That is great. But if it's anything that I would be judging somebody else for, I might look at something and go, well, they could have done that better. But that's not...
Spoiler alert, it's just her looking at my videos thinking that. And oh, Julia, once again.
But I always look at that and think, well, they can improve. I look at how someone could improve, or they might be able to, or I look at it from a coaching point of view and think, if I was coaching that person, what would I be telling them to do? I don't tend to, there's, one of my friends has beef with a particular person on Instagram, and I can't mention either of their names.
Fight.
However,
blow up their spot. Name them.
They're pretty much like, how is this person natural? How is this person natural? Mm-hmm. And I get that. That does
implying that the person's on steroids.
Yeah, implying the person is on steroids, and because their lifts have just gone up and up and up and up so quickly, and it's a female athlete, and it's somebody that is reasonably young, so but technically wise they haven't changed particularly, and their lifts have just gone up and up and up and up, and you're like, how on earth is that happening? That is either some magic or
newbie gains.
No,
okay,
not even. They're not. That's the thing.
They're not.
It's suddenly gone from being quite plateaued for a long time to suddenly going nyum, and you're like, how do they do that? And it's not. And I look at it from an objective point of view and go, well, maybe they've just got their nutrition on point where they didn't have beforehand. Maybe they've just done
sleeping better.
And I'm like, there are so many factors that could involve that. But my friend, they're just like, no man, I can't watch their lifts.
Fuck them, they're on gear.
And every time I watch it, and every time I see this lifter, I watch the video, and all I think is, oh no, my mate's going to be thinking I'm going to get the beef soon.
Pop off. I'm going to bring him in here and I'll just have him bitch the whole time about this specific person.
But I look at it and I think, you know what? Does that affect my life?
Yeah.
No.
Fair, yeah.
And now I just go, I don't have the energy for it. I literally don't.
Girl, we don't have the time.
I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I'm like, there is so much actual beef.
I got 3 kids. I'm going to uni. I'm fucking running my businesses and shit.
I'm just tired, man. I haven't got the energy for this.
Well, good thing we have our Monster Energy drinks to keep us going.
Everything hurts and I'm dying.
Alrighty, team. So I know that in the beginning we said that we were going to talk about the point of this whole session today was going to be about hard lessons learned. But to be honest, I've had such a great time talking to Faye and really taking a deep dive into her why that we've actually run a bit out of time to talk about the hard lessons learned. So I will make a promise to everyone in this room that we will get Faye back for another episode. And then we're going to harass you about all of the hard lessons that you've learned and really try to get as much as we can out of your amazing several 1,000 years of experience that you have in the industry.
Okay.
Would that be all right with you if we bring you back?
We can do that, yeah.
So we're going to take a really quick segue and we're going to talk a little bit about the LGBTQ community in powerlifting as a sport. So basically, what we want to do is, obviously, the world of lifting can be a bit gendered as it is, right? We've got guys, we've got girls, and in competitions and stuff, they're going to be competing in the guys and girls categories, and there's only so much you can do strength-wise with your specific gender. First of all, Faye, what's your experience of kind of LGBTQ-ness as a whole in powerlifting? Do you see a lot of it? Are you kind of part of the community there? What have you seen in the industry?
I would say that from what I've seen, and this might be through very rose-tinted glasses, is that it's quite an accepting community. Mm-hmm. No one's very outspoken about it though.
Okay.
I think that's one of the things that people, you might know that somebody is part of the LGBTQ community, but no one is they don't speak about that a lot. And from my experience, again, I don't either particularly, because that's my personal life and it's nothing to do with lifting for me. And I don't know if that's why, because people just don't associate the two things together. I have somebody who was in my gym who is trans, and he competes in powerlifting and in weightlifting. Mm-hmm. Amazing guy, and we would have open conversations in the gym about this because people are interested. I'm like, I'm not going to not let this conversation happen in my gym. I want these conversations in my gym.
Yeah.
I want everyone to be able to talk openly and be comfortable with that. Mm-hmm. And if that can be brought into powerlifting a little bit more, that would be fantastic. As far as the gender categories go, that's a really tough one.
Yeah.
And I don't even know where to go on that one. What I'd really like to do is look at, like, from a research point of view, look at it deeper to be able to have a more informed opinion on that. because I don't personally know enough to be able to give something from a decent perspective. So yeah, I haven't really seen a lot with in either a good way or a bad way. It's just kind of just is, really.
That's good, to be honest.
You know?
We'd rather have it be that.
As I say, I'm probably from a very laid back, rose tinted place here, because I like to see the good in most things, and therefore I might not see the bad things if they're not put in my face so much.
Well, we learned previously that you're not very petty, so
yeah, I struggle with the being petty and all of that. And like I said to you before, if we had that conversation 10 years ago, I might well have been more petty. But I think I've just learned through from being in the gym business and through like learning from my own children. You know, those guys teach me so much that there's more to life than getting really hung up on small things. And just being in the moment and enjoying that moment is the important thing.
Nice.
And because you don't know what's coming next and you can't do anything about what's happened.
Yeah.
So, you know, enjoy that moment there and then. And with the LGBTQ stuff, I think I'm so in the moment that I don't mind. I mean, we had a pride flag up at one of our events. Well, we didn't. It was held at the university, and it was in LGBTQ History Month. And the only negative thing I've seen is somebody made a complaint about that flag because it was on a live stream. And
being in the background?
Yeah,
like
I was bemused. Actually bemused. I was like, one, the university had it up. I think it wasn't visible on one day, and the guy that was doing the live stream I don't know. It was
just on the wall in the background.
It was just on the wall in the background, yeah. And but there was displays all around the university,
yeah,
which is what isn't seen. And I think that it was assumed that we'd put it there as a statement or something like that. But that wasn't the case at all. And I think it was that presumption of, and I think it was that may well have been a slight attack on me. But
yeah.
I was a bit like, I don't care. I don't. That person is having an uninformed comment. I'm like, okay, you're entitled to your opinion. That you're wrong.
But opinion is shit.
You know,
but I guess you can have it.
Yeah, if you're wrong, but you're entitled to think that if you wish, because go for it. Does it hurt me? No. Am I carrying on my life? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
So Faye and I are thinking, well, not really thinking, we're going. Faye and I are going to have we're going to throw a competition together, and it's going to be an LGBTQ plus competition.
Yeah.
And so what are we thinking will be like the parameters of that competition?
So I think we were discussing before that, we're not going to grade people on, people won't be in gender categories.
Yeah, so it won't be gendered. It won't be men and women's category.
But that means you also can't really get people to compete against each other. So it's going to be things like the best grind of the day will be
sweet.
Will be scored.
Wait, describe that. What's the best grind?
So when you've put everything and some into a lift, and it's one that gets the crowd. I was thinking as well. I was laying in bed last night thinking about this, and I thought, imagine if you had a decibel meter, right? The person that gets the crowd to make the most amount of noise.
I would do that.
That would be so
Sorry.
cool.
That's me. That's a girl.
You've not seen me compete. I get all rowdy and shout.
I love this.
But also like the coolest socks. That would be a really good thing. Coolest deadlift socks. So fun things like that. Things that actually when people are going for a PB, please let us know, because we want to. If you're going for a PB, we want everyone to be shouting for you. We want everyone to shout for everyone all the time anyway. But
yeah, that's true.
Especially if someone goes for a PB, we want to celebrate that with them.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the weight is, regardless of the person's gender, regardless of their sexuality or anything like that to go down to the core value of lifting. That
pick up
you
the
are
heavy
doing
fucking
something
thing
you haven't done before. How cool is this?
Yeah.
And go down to those really core values of it.
I love it.
And take away it's taken away the competition slightly, so it's not a competition, but there will be prizes for the fun stuff.
And we'll still do standard testing, I think, like the Sinclair score kind of situation. So you'll still have like your 3 lifts.
Yeah.
And then we'll put together like your total, but that will just be kind of your total.
Yeah.
And we'll still figure, I feel like we can do something with that data. I don't know what yet, but
yeah.
What will be the coolest thing is that it's not men and women. It's an everyone thing. So if you're non-binary, or if you're struggling to fit into a gender category, if you haven't figured it out yet, this would be a perfect competition for someone like you, because it doesn't matter what you are.
Yeah, we're not going to ask. We don't care.
We don't give a shit. Yeah. Come lift. Come pick up heavy things. I don't give a shit if you're a guy, girl, gay, straight, fucking whatever. Yeah. Pick up the heavy shit. That's all that really matters.
Pretty much.
At the end of the day.
And that's just generally what lifting should be about. I get that, you know, a sport like powerlifting, in order to be where it is, and especially British powerlifting and the work they're doing to try, you know, getting registered as a national governing body and all of that, they have to have some parameters. Yeah. And I get that.
But we don't.
But yeah, we can also have fun on the sidelines and be more inclusive and that kind of thing for people that, you know, might be, you know, struggling and not quite know where they're at with those sort of things now. So, yeah.
Love it. Inclusivity, baby. There is space for us all, as always. We got you.
Everything hurts and I'm dying.
Thank you guys for staying with us. We are going to close it out now. So, Faye, what are a couple things you want to tell the audience before we leave them for the week?
I think from what I said before about, doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're lifting or in just in life in general, but to be in the moment, to really enjoy now, because you can't change anything that's happened. You can't predict anything that's going to happen. You know, you can have dreams and goals, and you can have, you know, and you can also learn from what's happened in the past, but you can't manipulate those right now. Yeah. So, you know, you've got, if you want to like move forwards, then learning to like be in the now and be enjoying where you're at is really beneficial, because if if you're always looking at the past, or you're always just too focused on the future, you kind of, you know, that saying like stop and smell the roses. Yeah. You've got to do that sometimes to then open the doors to where you're going to go, because if you are so focused on one goal, you might miss other things on the way.
Yeah. I think there was some sort of quote, I think that I'm going to butcher the shit out of this, but it was like, depression is when you're stuck in the past, anxiety is when you're stuck in the future, happiness is when you're stuck in the present.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, that's kind of where I try to be.
I love that. Know? Good. And the thing that I want you guys to know is how inclusive the lifting community is. It doesn't matter if you're lifting 50 kilos or 500 kilos. Your personal best is exactly that. It's your personal best. And it will be celebrated by everyone, regardless. And so just come on down and pick up heavy things. And it doesn't matter if you're gay or straight or a man or a woman or anything along any spectrum that you want to be on. It's just about picking up heavy shit and putting it back down again. And you're so welcome in this community. And again, talking about the kids stuff, introduce your kids to lifting, get them strong, because strong, confident boys and girls and others turn into strong and confident men, women, and others. And so, yeah, whatever gender you want to be, lifting young is going to give you confidence when you're lifting old. So, yeah, anything else you want to say?
No, I think you summed it up brilliantly there. That's fantastic. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for staying with us. And thank you, Faye, so much. I can't wait to have you back on already. I'm so excited.
Thank you guys so much for listening and watching Everything Hurts and I'm Dying. I'm your host, Julia Krause. And if you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at questions@ehaid.com. That's questions@ehaid.com. You can also check out our website at everythinghurtsandimdying.co.uk or ehaid.com. If you want to get a hold of me, you can check out my Instagram at TRexTraining20. That's at TRexTraining20. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Have a great rest of your week.